right, we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this and you tune into the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. I'm one half of the dynamic duo, A1. You can check us out by going to wherever you get the good podcast. Give us 5 stars, leave a comment there. You can also check us out live on YouTube by searching Brains and Bars. Hit the notification bell, subscribe, hit the comments, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's them boys again. Talk to us. We talk back. As you can see, I'm not by myself today. Ward will join us at some point, but we do have a special guest in the building. He is part of Chiefs coverage for RGR on YouTube. He is also a draft analyst for Bleacher Report. He is also the fearless commissioner of our Dynasty Fantasy League. He is Daniel Harms. Good afternoon, Daniel. How are you?
Man, it's getting to that time. March is like the build-up point. Like you get past the combine, it's like, oh crap, we have to get reports done. We got to get everything going because the combine is like that tipping point where everything starts to full and go full motion. We got pro days, we got the draft coming up. It's a madhouse over here, man.
I bet. And I wanted to have you on for that reason because the combine just passed. We are now about a month and a half away for the NFL draft. There's a lot that's happening. Start of free agency. We're going to talk about this briefly for a second. A huge trade that wasn't that went down. And I guess I want to, before we get into the combine and the draft, I want to start there really quickly. Max Crosby, for anyone who has been living under a rock here, Max Crosby had a huge deal where he was traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to the Baltimore Ravens, 2 first-round draft picks. We're thinking everything is signed, sealed, delivered. All of a sudden, news comes out a couple of days ago that the trade is off, that he did not pass his physical, and he is being shipped back to the Raiders. And then subsequently, Trey Hendrickson, who we found out had agreed, I guess, to a deal with the Indianapolis Colts, found himself a new dance partner, and he is now a Baltimore Raven. And I got to start by asking, have you ever seen anything like this happen?
In the NFL, no. I've not been paying attention as long as a lot of people have. I've been actively doing this since 2018. So I'm still relatively new to all this. So this is ridiculous. This is crazy. This kind of buyer's remorse, essentially what it is not something that we've witnessed, especially at this degree.
So should the league take at least 1 first-round draft pick from Baltimore?
I mean, I don't know if we're going to be getting to that extent because I don't know if any of you have ever seen The Office, but there's an episode where Michael Scott is trying to buy a condo. Okay, he's got Dwight Schrute there with him, and they're going through everything, and he starts to get buyer's remorse from buying this thing where Dwight's in his ear saying that he's gonna live in this thing for 30 years, and it's like his coffin. And so he's trying to find little things wrong with the condo so we can renege on the deal. But the Ravens are over here doing the same thing with Max Crosby's knee. They're like, okay, that part of the meniscus wasn't there before. There's a whole area. That's how it feels to me. That's how I feel about this situation. So there's going to be a process played out. My opinion is that they got cold feet. This is a runaway bride situation where, we want to do this. This is out of kind of like a panic move. And then they're like, Trey Hendrickson's still out there. League hasn't started yet. Let's go ahead. We'll get those first round picks back. We'll have Trey Hendrickson for the exact same amount of money. And then we'll just go ahead and get those first round picks back, man. I don't know if the league's going to do anything about it. I don't think they will personally because this is a owner and GM run league with, in cahoots. As we all know, they like to get their money. So I don't think they're going to do anything about it.
Okay. I mean, I've seen people say this, and I understand why folk might think the comparison is a little crazy, but someone was like, if this happened in a fantasy league, they're automatically getting kicked out of the league, right? This is like you start a war in a fantasy league if you accept the deal and all of a sudden come back and say, well, no, I don't want to do it. And I don't know. I feel like the league has to take at least a first round pick because you can't set this precedent of being able to agree to a deal and then turning around and being like, you said,
it does happen to an extent with failed physicals. Okay. So how this usually works, players don't fail physicals. If you want them to fail the physical, yeah, they do. But typically, if you want that player, you want to take the responsibility of that player, the injury and the precedent you set for the team, yeah, you're going to take on whatever that is. So this happens, just not to this extent. And I think the magnitude of 2 first-round picks and then immediately turning around and signing Trey Hendrickson to the exact same money that was left on Max Crosby's deal is just the weird part about all of this.
Man, that's crazy. So kind of the last question, and we'll move on. If you were a GM, would you take a chance on trading for Max Crosby?
Absolutely. You're not giving up 2 first-round picks now. You're not doing it because there's no throw an offer out there. First-round pick and a second-round pick. See what you can get, because he's at least going to be out there for as much as he possibly can, because that's who Max Crosby is. Like the injury concern is going to be for one team versus the other. It's a meniscus, right? He's set to be ready to go in July or June or July, wherever it is. He'll be ready to participate. I'm absolutely doing it.
All right, cool. Ward, welcome. How are you, sir?
No, trying to get situated. My apologies. And I was watching the fall of Miami of Ohio, so they just lost. I'm so glad. Anyway, we're on football though.
All right, that's cool. Let's jump into the combine. So I saw this article, I believe it was from Pro Football Talk, about a discussion about whether the combine is losing relevance. You're having less stars appear to go through the workouts. They're waiting for their pro days. I know Fernando Mendoza didn't really do anything. Jeremiah Love did, right? But it's kind of hit and miss. So in your opinion, do you think that the combine is losing a little bit of its luster, not having the biggest names compete or go through the drills and the interviews, or they go through the interviews, but go through the drills at the combine?
So for fans, sure, because they're the ones that are the NFL turned this into a product. The teams are still going to do this, regardless of whether fans watch or not. They want to get more money for it, so they're going to do what they can to continue that process. But the combine's not losing its relevancy; it's losing its TV value, because you're not seeing the people out there doing all the drills, going through the on-field workouts, and we're not getting to see the guys that everybody wants to see, because at the end of the day, you're going to have your pro day, and most teams are going to watch your tape, and they're just going to say, I don't really give a shit if you turn on a 4.35 in the combine. If you run fast on the field, or if you run slow on the field, that's what we're really going to be prioritizing that information. But the combine itself, the value is being able to pick players' brains at informal interviews, formal interviews, the medical process. All of that stuff is far more important to the teams than anything else. So this is still a hugely valuable situation. Like, we're not going to probably see them actually change the location. I know people kind of want to see that, but Indianapolis is perfectly set up for that specific situation with all of you have to have like a certain number of MRI machines within a relative distance to where you are. So for me, I think that that's this little bit of a sensationalized view of it, because the fan idea of what the combine is just what we see on TV. But in reality, there's so much more to the combine that is way more valuable to teams than what someone runs in the 40-yard dash.
Okay. So I'll say this about the combine. I don't watch personally. I appreciate, some of the stories that come from it. I think about, is it Mike Washington Jr., the young man from Arkansas, running back, had the 4.3 40. He realized, like, that just changed my life, right? But I do think sometimes there's too much of an emphasis put on the combine. So I think of a guy like Kyle Hamilton, right? To me, Kyle Hamilton was a top 10 pick. I'm a Notre Dame fan, watched him for 3 years. To me, he was a surefire top 10 pick. He runs a 4.5, high 4.5 in the 40. And all of a sudden people are like, well, I don't know. Is that guy really good? And I'm like, guys, can we cut the tape on? Right? Like, at the end of the day, regardless of what happens in Indianapolis, cut the tape on and see, does it translate? Does it match what you're seeing? So I say that to say, which combine drill do you think best translates to Sundays at the combine?
I mean, I think every position group has their own individual ones. The Staley drill for running backs is great. I love the gauntlet drill for wide receivers and DBs. Those kind of, when you can actually like put yourself in a situation on the field where you can see them doing that exact thing. And now all of the on-field drills are designed to do that. Some of the route running stuff for wide receivers and quarterbacks, that can be just tough because a lot of them aren't throwing to the same guys they threw at in college, and they're not going to see those guys again. They didn't get time to practice beforehand either. So there's always a natural chemistry for like quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends and that kind of thing. But the movement drills, anything that you're seeing them having to do, like the defensive ends that have to do the circle drill, the double eight, right? Where they take that towel and they have to pick it up and bend around. That shows ankle flexion. How well can you corner, can continue your speed and your momentum while rounding a corner? You can really see how stiff players are in that regard. So anything where you are really seeing them have to like go up and down through bags, movement, change of direction. Can you accelerate at speed? Can you concentrate on a football while still running full speed in the gauntlet drill? Those are the things that really, really matter.
Okay. All right. Cool. So who are some prospects we aren't paying attention to today that you believe will make a name for themselves in the years to come?
And that's a really loaded question because for me, I'm DBs and tight ends for Bleacher Report. So like I've got 26 corners. I want to get to like 30 plus corners, 20 safeties, and 20 tight ends for the class. Like that's my goal.
Okay, so I want to talk DBs because I want to talk about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So let's put a pin in the DBs. Let's talk tight ends then specifically. Okay. Who are some tight ends? I know obviously we got Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt as a guy.
Sadiq Bey. Or no, not Sadiq Bey. Something Sadiq. I'm still in basketball mode.
I was about to say Sadiq Bey used to play.
I was saying he might be the
if he wanted to make the switch. But yes, I'm blanking on his name from Oregon.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah.
So who are some other tight ends outside of those two that are on your radar that teams who are potentially in the need for a tight end that need to look out for?
I just don't get why no one talks about – actually, I do get why no one talks about Max Clares because he decided to go to Ohio State instead of staying at Purdue where you're going to be funneled targets forever. Because Max Clare they don't care about tight ends. They don't. They want you to block for their run game and then so they can throw to their receivers. Like that's what they want to do. Max Clare can actually do everything. He's a little bit lighter. He's 6 foot, around 6'4", 246 pounds. At least that's what I have listed here. It might not be his official combine measurement, but this is one of the players that I see that can actually run an NFL route tree, really make guys miss after the catch. He has explosiveness as well. I think he developed as a blocker a little bit better at Ohio State than he was at Purdue, but no one talks about him because he didn't get nearly the targets that he should have gotten at Ohio State. There's multiple of guys here. Justin Jolly had a little bit of, I would say, probably early day 2 buzz out of North Carolina State. And he's a guy that's not going to drop the football. He's got incredible hands. He's a real red zone weapon. He's a smooth player, not extremely explosive, not the best blocker, more of your F tight end, someone who's going to be an detached or a slot player, those big slots, as you will, but you will move him around, get him better angles like we see with the Lions when they went and then drafted name is Sam Laporta out of Iowa. Not a great point of attack blocker, but the NFL nowadays is all about how do we use your skill set to best our offense. We see a lot of move tight ends, right, where you're attached, but you're constantly moving to create better angles for the run game and for the blockers. So Jolly is a guy who's going to be a big red zone threat, and again, possession type of player, not great after the catch, but still a really good day 2 player. Somebody down the list for me who I think can actually be a much better player in the NFL than he was in college. Texas A&M tight end Nate Borkershire. He's
I'm a Notre Dame fan. Sorry, so that name hurts. That name hurts.
Well, I'm sorry. Like I have to highlight the guy.
Absolutely.
I gotta do what I gotta do, man. And I think that a lot of people are giving him like the misnomer, like he's like the best blocking tight end in the class, like we saw last year with the Georgia State tight end who plays now at Buffalo, whose name escaping me for whatever reason. But he came in and he was an immediate impact blocker from day 1 in Buffalo. And I think Nate's a better route runner and like receiver than he gets any credit for. And when you see he was at the Senior Bowl and a couple of really impressive catches through contact, I didn't think his tape reflected the ability to continue to physically fight through that. But that's something, again, you're looking for guys that can develop, have that inline ability to be able to come in, be a tight end too, maybe play special teams, but can develop into a player for your offense. So he's somebody that's on my list as well. And then Riley Nowakowski of Indiana is like he's just so much fun. He's basically an H-back. He's like 6'1", 250 pounds, and he just comes out there, has better blocking techniques than just about any tight end on this list. He's a functional receiver. You can move him around, play him in the backfield. He can take the ball on handoffs too if you want him as a fullback, line up as a slot. He can do a little bit of everything for you and provide immediate special teams ability for your team. So he's going to be a day 3 player, but he's going to be kind of have his hands in everything. So there's a lot of valuable players past the first round, probably closer into day 3, but that was just to name a few. I've got guys like Donald Bentley out of Utah, Marlon Klein, who I'm much higher on out of Michigan than most people are, that are going to be able to fill out your rosters. Like there's a really good depth of talent on day 3.
I think I might have saw you post something about Marlon on your Twitter.
Yeah.
Was he George Kittle? Was that the comparison you made there?
Yeah, like the movement styles. Like if you watch George Kittle play, the shoulder pads kind of move around. He loves, like you can tell he loves the game. He loves to block. He loves to get hit. Marlon Klein is like the same thing to me. He loves to block. He loves to get hit. He pops right back up like it wakes him up every day, man.
All right. So a couple of things before we in our time left with you. So one thing I want to talk about the DBs, especially as it relates to Kansas City with the Chiefs. Obviously, their DB room is going to look drastically different. Joshua Williams gone, Jalen Watson gone. Obviously, the trade of McDuffie and Brian Cook is now in Cincinnati. So let's talk about the DBs, right? Let's talk about for Kansas City, what DBs that you have looked at that you think might be a good fit for the Chiefs in this draft.
Both of them.
I mean, Jamal McCoy, what would be my CB1 in this class that he played? I think would absolutely be, but Mansour Delaney had the season that he did, so it's tough to not have him at CB1. But I think for me, I'm looking for a guy that's maybe not because Mansour and I think Jamad would have to be a pick at 9. Those are the two guys that would have to be at 9. If you can trade down, sure. But if you're zeroing in on pick 29, that's somebody that I'm looking to have inside-outside versatility to fill the Trent McDuffie role. And D'Angelo Pons and Avion Terrell are the two names that are next on my list because they are cornerback 3 and 4, and they give you that ability. But I think Pons is a plug and play nickel right now with that outside flex, but really outside flex, not just somebody who is going to kind of live out there and maybe give up a plays. We've seen him match up against Denzel Boston. Like he plays like he's 6'3". He does not have little man syndrome in the sense that he just like is always trying to make things happen that he can't make happen. He can make it happen. Like he can play the ball in the air. He's a great athlete. He went at the combine and did his verticals just to say, hey, yeah, I'm like 5'9", but guess what? I can jump higher than most of these receivers can. And he absolutely can. He can play the catch point well, super physical. I would say he's an above average tackler. He's got short arms. So like you have to remember that comes with being able to wrap up and play it more physical in the slot, which I do think is going to be his natural position in the NFL with that outside flex. But Avion Terrell's a better zone. Like he's the best zone corner in this class in my mind. I think he has excellent eyes. He sees route combinations very well. He can take routes away. And I think he's going to be more of a slot player as well. But both of these guys play on the outside right now in college. They're just a little bit smaller. So for the Chiefs specifically, I think they are looking for a player with that inside-outside versatility. And again, somebody who played outside in college that you can play inside in the NFL and not lose much in terms of tackling. Terrell, I'm a little scared of with the tackling. His brother was the same at Clemson, though, and he came into the NFL and was a much better tackler. But Avion is a little bit smaller, and he has shorter arms, if my memory serves, from his brother's measurement. So that's just something to think about.
What about Colton Hood?
So Colton is down a lot further for me. I like Colton. Again, he's got a second-round grade, or just like a fringe second-round grade for me, but he's still developing. He does not have the natural instincts or the zone route identifying traits for a guy that is being mocked in the first round. Very good in man coverage situations. Like obviously he was excellent in that, a physical outside corner who's a good tackler who wants to be physical. His Senior Bowl concerned me. And for a lot of people, you saw him getting that first round buzz going into the Senior Bowl, and they're all posting the 1 or 2 clips that he won at the Senior Bowl, but they would not post any of the ones that he was getting routed up. And again, one-on-ones are let's preface this. One-on-ones are geared towards the wide receivers. It's more about how he played in those reps. He didn't look like he was really trying to get better each time he got, and there was no news about an injury, but he practiced the first and second day and then sat out day 3. That concerns me a little bit. So, but again, it was just more about his actual tape. So I didn't have to like push him down my board or anything. That's where I already had him closer to that day 2 second round grade. So he's definitely a player who I think is going to get taken near the end of the first round, probably close to the top of the second, because of the developmental upside with the athleticism, the speed, the physicality that he plays with. And you have to really kind of hope that he's still developed that zone ability. But again, not for lack of talent.
Did he just become on your radar off of this season, or did you watch him much opposite of Travis Hunter when he was at Colorado?
Yeah. I didn't watch him at Colorado. I didn't even, again, I came to Bleacher Report in the summer, and then that's where I got this giant list of DBs plopped into my lap, and I'm like, okay,
gotcha.
Well, I got to go through and find all these guys.
I just didn't know if teams consider Deion being his coach, playing with Travis, then going to a big SEC program. Now all of a sudden he has a first round, second round grade. If some of those other things are factors when teams are looking at guys.
I mean, maybe. I think you can. That's probably more on a team-to-team basis,
Yeah.
I think that was if being related to him far more of a problem than not being related to him. So I think that's. And one thing I will say is that in back-to-back years at Colorado, not named Travis Hunter, their other corners or their best corner had now transferred away from him. So maybe they're trying to get away, right? So I'm just trying to. That's something that just kind of poked in the back of my head there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs and that first top 10 pick they have at pick number 9.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of talk pre-combine, right, and pre-free agency. Oh, man, what about Jeremiah Love? Oh, man, what about Caleb Downs, Bain, Bailey, trying to think, Carnell Tate.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they've made some moves in free agency, obviously running back is out. They went and got Kenneth Walker. They went and got a defensive tackle. No edge players yet. Obviously, they went and got a Alohi Gilman. Shout out to the Notre Dame connection. They went and got a Alohi Gilman at safety. So based on the moves that they've made now, what are some of the names you think make sense for them at pick 9 in the draft?
I mean, I personally think a defensive end is going to fall. I feel like it's going to happen. I don't know which one it's going to be. I mean, if I had to pick, it would be Ruben Bain, and Ruben Bain's the guy I would love in Kansas City. Like I don't care about the short arms. I have no worries about that. If you're going to bet on a guy with short arms, Ruben Bain is the poster child for the guy you're going to bet on. It's not, and no offense to Ashton Gelati, it's not Ashton Gelati with shorter arms that I'm betting on. It's Ruben Bain because of the way he plays the game. And I've been talking about it all offseason. The Chiefs need ass kickers on defense. They just brought one in on the defensive line who played for the Patriots this last year. That guy is the definition of a ass-kicking defensive tackle. Kairos Tonga is the guy you want to have there. But Chris Jones is, let's just say, he's not an ass kicker. He's kind of a finesse player. For George Karlaftis, he has the body of an ass kicker, but he's not really an ass kicker. He doesn't really play that way. And then you don't have, again, you've got effort. It's him with effort and Gelati with effort, and FAU coming off of an injury who never played that way either. So getting a Ruben Bain would continuously to build that mentality, which the Chiefs defensive line has lacked since Frank Clark. He was an ass kicker. That's the kind of player that you want there. But there's a bunch of different options. If Sonny Styles falls, I know he's a linebacker and he's an alien. And if he, for whatever reason, if he were to fall, I don't think it's going to happen, but you pull the trigger. I don't care. I'm pulling the trigger. There's 2 years left on that Nick Bolton deal, and you can cut him. I'm saying it right now. If you find a way, you put you take Leo Chanel's role, you give it to Drew Tranquil, and you put Sonny Styles where Drew Tranquil was. And then you just say 2 years from now, we're going to put you at middle linebacker. because they just don't make many guys that look like that, move like that with that type of athleticism. So he's a player that I really, really grown on at 9. But again, I don't think he's going to be there. I know a lot of people love the wide receiver talk here. If I had to pick my wide receiver, it would be Jordan Tyson, because I think he is the best receiver in the class. And if all the receivers are available and they're all equal, I'm going to take him. But in terms of like the stylistic fit, I know Carnell Tate probably makes the most sense as a true X receiver. A good route runner, more wins off of manipulation than raw speed. And it's kind of the same with his other running mate there from USC, the smaller version, Mekhi Lemon, who I think both of them offer interesting upside in different roles. Mekhi Lemon is far more of just a natural slot. I don't think he's going to be able to play on the outside in the NFL and win consistently. I think Tate can. So if I'm going to slot it, it would be Tyson, because I think he's the best player, and then Tate, and then Lemon. But in terms of what I think the Chiefs need, Tate, Tyson, then Lemon.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lord, did you have a question? Because I have one
No,
final.
no.
So
no.
last question, and maybe I saw you tweet this out too, is there's been talk of, and so I feel like you said two things, right? I feel like I saw you say in the past that don't rule out offensive tackle to the Chiefs. But I also thought maybe I saw you say, what is it with everyone thinking that offensive tackle is going to be the pick at 9? Did I see that?
No,
correctly?
Thinking that it's what I would do.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I'm just the messenger, and I got killed for saying it's a possibility that tackle is on the board at 9. But it's not what I would do. And I've said that many, many times.
So why not? Why not tackle at 9, given that Juwan Taylor's gone, right? I think the other 4 spots are solidified. Right tackle is open at the moment. I know Jalen Moore was signed, but he wasn't great at that spot last year. So why wouldn't they go tackle at 9?
I mean, I don't know if they wouldn't, because I think that they might. But because of need elsewhere, and I think the value in this draft is not necessarily at tackle. I mean, Maui Noah out of Miami, possibly, if he's still there. Think that would be tempting for them. But again, there's wide receiver. There's probably going to be a defensive end that falls. Linebacker, is still there. And then corner, of which I think are all probably make more sense given what they currently have and what their current situation is. But I wouldn't take tackle, because you have 4 offensive linemen that are, in my opinion, well above average, and 2 elite players. The reasoning behind this speculation is that, well, what's going on with Josh Simmons? No one knows anything. No one knows. I mean, I personally don't care about the personal stuff where he took time away. I don't care about that. We haven't heard anything about his wrist injury. We haven't heard anything about that. And that's concerning to me, because I want him to be the left tackle of the future, because I think he's one of the best players already at that position in terms of what he athletically and talent-wise with his hand usage already offer. And that upside is insane. But what's going on? Like we don't know. And when you don't know, it causes a little bit of stir. And that's why you see people starting to tweet, well, tackle might be in a situation here at 9 for the Chiefs. And it's just an area that I think that most people put to bed because Jalen Moore is there, but Jalen Moore was legitimately not very good at all at tackle last year.
Yeah. So last question. I'm going to make you Brett Veach. And at 9, you're on the clock. Let's say Styles falls. Styles, Bain, Downs, or Tate. Which one of those players do you take?
Yeah, I'm taking Ruben Bain. As much as I love Styles in that position, Ruben Bain is the guy that they need. Not only that they desperately need a defensive end. FAU's not panned out, and he's coming off of an injury. I just don't see much upside with Ashton Gelati. I just don't. And there's nobody else in that defensive end room. And George Karlaftis is a 2. You need a 1. And I think that Ruben Bain can be that.
Is Caleb Downs the most NFL ready prospect?
Yeah, I think so. He's the best player on my board. Like, he's the best player in the draft, in my opinion. But again, I think that especially with Gilman, you have Hicks now. I think that the need for a Downs is far less in terms of what the Chiefs defense actually needs. They need a real free safety option. Not that he can't play free safety, but like a Dylan Feineman out of Oregon, Bud Clark later in the draft. Those kind of guys I think make more sense.
Yeah. And then do you think Caleb Downs will be a return specialist as well, or just strictly safety?
No, I think he's going to play only safety. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe like an emergency situation, but I think he's only safety.
Listen, go get Jadarian Price in like the 3rd round for Notre Dame. He can serve as, a change of pace from Kenneth Walker. He can return kicks. That solves it all. Anyway, Daniel, thank you for your time. Once again, where can the people follow you, find your content?
I appreciate you guys having me. It was a lot of fun talking about the draft and the Chiefs. That's what I love to do. You guys can follow me on Twitter at InHarmsWay19. There's tons of clips that will be going up, especially with it being real draft season, tons of those. You also can follow me and my work, my film breakdowns that cover the Chiefs on rgrfootball.com. All of those are up every single Wednesday. Kenneth Walker one just dropped yesterday, so that was a lot of fun to do as well.
All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. We'll be talking to you.
Take it easy, Daniel.
All right, he is Daniel Harms, as you can see, from rgrfootball.com. Bleacher Report. Ward, I don't know how much time you got. If you want to talk, we can talk some battle rap.
We can do whatever, man.
We can talk a little bit of Bam. How much time you got?
I got about 30 minutes.
Bet. Let's do it. First, before we get into battle rap, let's talk really quick about Bam. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. Put up 83 points a couple of nights ago against the Washington Wizards. If you had League Pass, you got a chance to tune in and watch a little bit of history. I didn't get the chance to see at Kobe's 81. But your reaction to Bam, becoming the second highest scorer in a single game in NBA history.
Yeah, my reaction is definitely mixed. There's mixed feelings there because of how 31 in the first quarter was so crazy to me, right? A genuine, this dude is going off. Like a feat that is it doesn't matter what team you're playing. It's the first quarter. You're playing another NBA team. You're at 31. You feel me? 43 at the half is still, oh, snap. He might be on pace, even though, 12 down in the second quarter or whatever. As the game goes and you start to realize that now it's a thing, right? Now it's a thing, and he's being fed the ball. He's being, like we're going for this thing. There's an excitement as well. Once you get to the fourth quarter and you're up by what you're up, and you see how the team is playing to force this record or to force him breaking this record on both ends of the ball, from the Wizards, sending triple teams, and the Heat missing free throws on purpose and intentionally fouling to get people at the line to stuff the stats and stuff like that. It became more so damn, really? You know what I mean? That's I get it. I get it. Hey, he can possibly break a record that hasn't been, it's been 20 years. I don't know how long it's been since that game or whatever, but a long time. It's been a long time since Kobe put all them points on Jalen Rose. And but
don't do
I'm
Jalen
just
Rose
thinking
like that.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking I wasn't watching it live. So once I go back and I start seeing the fouling and the missed free throws and him chucking up threes with three people, and I'm like, yeah, this just ain't it to me. Is 83 points in the game incredible? Absolutely. Is it as impressive to me as the Embiid in 3 quarters, or the Booker, or the 50-point triple doubles of it's just not because that last 5 minutes, that wasn't basketball. That wasn't basketball. It wasn't NBA. It wasn't any kind of basketball. It didn't happen in the feel of the game. And once again, he's in the game up 30, 40 points, and they're intentionally fouling and trying to do things to just get him a record. And that's just. I'm not saying there's an asterisk beside it because he scored 83 in a game, but I'm just saying it's just not. It wasn't the 83 wasn't as impressive to me as Booker 70.
I honestly don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of that. It doesn't bother me at all. I think so Washington, to me, made it worse than what it had to be. I think if Bam was exhausted, right? I don't think he came out in the second half, or if he did, it might have been some part in the third quarter, but he played the entire fourth quarter. And if they just would have maybe tried to run a double team at him here and there, they were being over aggressive, which then allowed him to seek out contact, get fouled, and get to the free throw line. I think if they just would have played him like, okay, you're hot, but oh my God, we can't know. Like, it's almost like 21, right? When you get to 19 and 21, all of a sudden now, if it's 8 of y'all playing, first of all, why do we never start playing 4s at that point? But beyond that, you have 4 and 5 people who are running at you, trying to keep you from getting that final shot. I think Washington exacerbated it. Yes, Miami helped with the fouling, with the missed free throw shots, missed free throws or whatever.
Yeah, that's just not natural. Like it's the opposite of natural. It's not even like.
But it happens, right? So, and I've seen people.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, David Robinson, when he wanted to win the scoring title at the end of, I forget, like the 94-95 season, he scored 71 points where they were feeding him the ball. As a matter of fact, I saw a guy who posted a clip of a story of they were playing the Clippers, and Donald Sterling went in at halftime. This is Dominique Wilkins, as a matter of fact. Dominique Wilkins went in and said Donald Sterling came in at halftime and said, hey, guys, we're sitting our best players because I want to see David Robinson get this scoring title because I don't want Shaq to get it. So, I mean,
right. Okay, but you prove my point, though. It happens, but you had to go 30 years ago.
Kobe, when he put up 60 in his final game, Kobe was chucking the ball. Now, he wasn't being triple teamed.
Right.
He scored 60 on 50 shots. Like, the game plan was this guy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not mad at shooting the ball. I'm mad. Like I said, that's basketball. A ball hog, a shooter guard, somebody going for a score, shoot the ball. What's not basketball is fouling and missing free throws on purpose to get the ball back to get your guy. Like, that's not basketball. That's the opposite of basketball.
I wasn't in love with that, but I was also entertained by it at the same time. Like, it was all entertaining to see him chase, because again, when are you ever going to be as hot as he was through 3 quarters? He had like 62, I think, through 3.
Okay, but here's the thing. Those other guys could have had more points if they played like that. Like the Bookers, the Embiid sits. If they're winning, they're up. They're not playing that role. But now they will. Now they will. And that's what I'm saying. It's not. It doesn't come across as like just genuine, like within the feel of the game. Like at that point, if you triple teaming me, there ain't no reason in the world for the last 6 minutes why I didn't come up with a 70-point triple-double. Guess what? I would have had 10 assists. If you got 3 people on me, I can find somebody to get a basket.
But I think it also depends on what's happening in the game too, right? So I'm looking at 50-point scores, at least 50 points this season. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 this season. 50-point scores. Maybe if they keep chucking it up, maybe they get to 60 and they see what's possible. Also, I think
I wasn't speaking about this season. I'm just speaking on the ones that we've in the past decade or whatever.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, how many of those 50-point scores in that particular game, the circumstances led to, because Bam obviously was out of his mind, right? Like, this was the hottest of the hot shooting.
Was he?
Bro, I don't know.
In the first quarter, yeah.
I think the first 3. I think the fourth quarter is when he really started to kind of like go, okay, let's go for it. Right? I think the first 3 quarters, you could say, had he stopped after 3, right? Had he said, okay, I'm at 62 points. We're up at that. Let me see if I can find out what the score was after 3. Because I feel like after 3, the game was already out of hand. Right?
It was, but it wasn't. Because here's my thing. You got to be up by more than 25 points for it to be out of hand in the NBA. Like no matter what, like anybody in the NBA can go on a 10-0 scoring run in a minute. Like it just how fast they shoot the ball, the shot clocks and everything like that. Maybe the Wizards can't, but like if I'm up 25 going into the fourth, my starters are still in until about 8 minutes to go in the fourth.
So they were up 16 after 3.
Yeah, so that's still a game. I'm not mad at him playing in the fourth quarter. But once you're up 30 points with half of the fourth quarter to go, you know what I mean? or that's when I'm just like, yeah.
Now I got to rewatch this fourth quarter because what were the Wizards on? Because that score, the final margin of victory here is 21 points. So it's not like it was a 40-point blowout. It felt like it was a bigger lead than it was, and maybe the Wizards made a bunch of buckets in garbage time while they were, doing their thing. But I don't know. I was entertained by it. I didn't mind it. Obviously, the Kobe fans went bonkers online. If I hear the word unethical hoops again, it'll be too soon. Like I said, I personally did not care. I thought it was to watch history being made, regardless of whether the history happened in the flow of the game or in the attempt to chase something. It didn't bother me. And if someone does, let's say Anthony Edwards, after 3 quarters, if he's at 65 points and he goes, I'm only 18 points away. If he chooses to go for it, I'm all for it again too. Continue. I want to see somebody get to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see someone get to 100. And hopefully it'll happen in the pursuit of a close game that would then make it even more epic. But if they're up 15 with 5 minutes to go and, Anthony Edwards is pulling up from 28 feet away and chucking a 3, go for it. Because how many opportunities will you have to score that many points in a game? These guys are all very talented and can score like that in lower leagues and lower levels. I just don't know how often you'll be in that position to say I got 70, I got 75. A lot of like I talked about, we got 13 players who have hit 50 points in a season. Not that that's easy to do, but you can get to 50. 50 is attainable. Anything beyond 50, it's going to require a lot of hot shooting and luck on your side. Anything else you want to say about Bam before we jump in the battle?
No, I was just looking to see. I was looking to see what he ended up doing in those last 2 minutes.
Those last 2 minutes, he didn't score a basket after I want to say somebody said after the 8-minute mark. Everything else was free throws. So in the fourth quarter, he might have made 1 or 2 buckets. Everything else was at the free throw line, which again, I blame the Wizards for. The Wizards were being super aggressive and trying to make sure he didn't get the record. And to me, that led to them fouling and putting him at the foul line. All they had to do to me was just play him straight up, run doubles at him, and just try to stop him. Now, the Wizards are one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive team in the league. Like, they're like 29th to 30th in terms of defensive efficiency. But, you just gotta be better. You can't let him go for 60 and 3 if you don't want him to get to 83.
Yeah, facts.
All right.
No, we good. We can go battle rap for a few.
All right. So let's jump into battle rap. Dang, I can't do that. I saw something, speaking of battle rap, I saw something from Reddit about Diz will never learn. And it was an IG caption. I tried to click on it, but I can't see it. Anyway, World Domination 9.
Yes.
From King of the Dot went down this past weekend. 2-day weekend. First was acapella battles, and then second night was on Beat, their beatdown platform, which I believe was the second installment from the brand. To me, really dope weekend of battles. Not really too many bad battles. Maybe you could say some were a little bit too, one in particular, a little bit too lengthy, but the majority of the battles were really good. So your thoughts on what went down this weekend?
Yeah, man, I thought it was a great weekend. I'm not a rookie to 2-day King of the Dot events. This is probably my 5th or 6th one that I've been to where, it's been a 2-day weekend. You got day 1, you got day 2, where I'm battling on one of those days, whether it's Town Business, World Domination, Blackout, or just any of them really. And I thought it was just a really good weekend. I thought day 1 was good. I thought it was good. I don't think you got that classic battle. I don't think you got that battle of the year battle from day 1, but you got entertaining battles, that guys came, put on great back and forths. And then, unfortunately in the middle or towards the end of it, you have the battle that's, what kind of maybe could have taken day 1 from great to good, If that battle is a competitive battle with normal round links or even a little bit longer than normal round links, then you're looking at like, hey, we're 6 for 6 on day one. Like this is a really good day. The crowd's maybe not as bad for Shotty and Rock, so you get a better reception for that. But hindsight's 2020, and the round links were 2020 and 25. But I think that disaster Sharon battle just kind of took day one from great to good. Now, then you go to day two, and day two was so much more about the feel, the vibe, the camaraderie, the company morale, the battle rappers having fun. Like it was all about the feel. And that was through the roof, like just the beat down concept. It's not a foreign concept. You have people like Verbal Warzone and the Walk Down, all these different places that do these types of things or whatever. This was my first time attending one like this. I've attended, battles and people rapping on beat before, but since I've been a battler, this has been my first time. And yeah, it was just really just kind of like a big family reunion get together where, some guys grab the mic and go back and forth. And it was lighthearted. It was fun. It was creative. Guys like Frack and Mad Flex and Real Deal and Cortez and stuff. They got to show, that they're really talented. Arcane as well. Lopeshi, Rohizi, all these people, like they put on a good show. Females did a great job. And I just thought it was like a lot of less pressure and a lot more fun. And I thought that day two was like more of a great day, for like battle rappers and battle rap. Now, will it translate when it goes to watching them on YouTube and what we talk about in the culture and who's stock and who's status and all that? No, not necessarily. But as far as like the feel of being in the venue and the feel of seeing battle rappers have fun, like it was probably one of the best days of battle rap in a few years.
For sure. I'm curious to see how it translates online once it drops on YouTube. I'm hoping that I know you and Organic were having a conversation. He talked about this, about how this might be the introduction for people who maybe not into the acapella side of things. Like this could serve as an introduction into battle rap culture as a whole. I got that same feeling. I felt the same about the Nicest. I feel like the Nicest is one of those things where if you want to introduce somebody and say, okay, listen, it gets a lot more rough than this, but if you just want to introduction to the format, what it might look like, what it might feel like, this is a nice introduction and walk into.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Because here, like now, you've been, traveling with me at least once or twice a year for some odd time. This was your first King of the Dot event, right?
For sure.
This was your first time in Toronto, right? Or first time? Okay.
First time in Toronto. Yeah.
So now, you've been to Smack Volumes, you've been to Summer Madness in London, you've been to World Dom in Toronto, you've been to Riot events in Atlanta, you've been to RBE events, right, in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want you to compare or whatever, but I was just say, like, what were some standout things about like King of the Dot? How they operate, the feel, the look, the everything of the weekend, like that you could speak to from just somebody like, this is my first King of the Dot event.
So let me say first and foremost that I've always heard the stereotype about Canadians being like super nice, super friendly. I feel like they exceeded the stereotype, right? In a positive way. Everyone was super nice, super friendly. The crowd was there for the raps, right? So like you didn't have to tell them to quiet down a whole bunch. When it was time to rap, it was time to listen. So they were attentive crowd. They reacted. Even with how long Diz and Sharon was, the crowd was tired. But I still feel like they gave what they could to Rock and to Shotty. Like I felt like they gave them the energy. I think for the on beat, I didn't. So obviously there were names, right? You got Arsenal, you got Real Deal, you got Cortez. If you Rohizi, while he is newer to the scene, I know who Rohizi is, right? You got people from London or from the UK, Renaya, Candy, right? You have those people. I forget about the other Ren DMC. So I wasn't expecting the On Beat to be as packed as it was. Mm-hmm. And so I think you see people who just really love the raps. Like they're so much of battle rap gets a bad rap because of all the drama, the messiness, the pettiness, the toxicity of it. But you saw people who simply loved it for what it was. Right. And I think you saw it, like you said, you saw it in that On Beat setup where people are there just enjoying their time. Right. You got Lopeshi took on Roheezy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you see kind of like the fun feel of like Roheezy's doing his thing, like he's putting up his numbers. And then Lopeshi, it wasn't a great performance, right? Like he struggled a little bit with the pacing and the timing of keeping up with the beat as the beat got longer. But then he would say something funny, and it's just like, hey, this is my son. Like, celebrate my son. And the crowd's like, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. They have the dance hall competition, which again, I have absolutely no idea what's happening, what he's saying. But like, for the people who could, the one cat, when he kind of started to get going on the beat and people are vibing to it. And I think to me, I really enjoyed the experience. I would like to go again. It doesn't have to be a World Dom or Gully versus Gannick or something. Like it could be another beatdown. Like I would like to go just, if that's all you're doing, I would like to go visit and pull up for one of those events. But yeah, man, the thing that I tell people who have not been to a battle rap event live is the people are super nice, right? You run into some jerks, you run into some, but they are few and far between. And it's very rare to see it happen in an event. Most people are there just want to have a good time. And when you are an American who's visiting, right, there's always an interest there. One of the security guards, they're patting me down, making sure I don't have any weapons on me. I don't got the 9 tucked. And she's like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Kansas City. I can tell by the accent. And I'm like, what accent? But nah, man, like I don't necessarily want to rank them, but I really enjoyed my time in Toronto, man. Like I said, going to the event. And like I said, I would love to go back again. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you versus Jazz or you versus Shotty. It helps, but you know what I'm saying? But nah, like I would love to go back to Toronto again. I loved it.
No.
Hold on one second. Let me see. My mom. Shout out to my mom in the comments. Moving to Toronto.
It's a nice city. It's just cold. It's just cold.
Now listen, I was definitely concerned because it was showing snow. It snowed a lot in the lead up to us getting up there. Mm-hmm. And that's the part I don't want to. All that snow, yeah. I'll be there in the summertime. They say I actually will be there in May for my anniversary with my wife. But I've heard that in the spring and summer, it is an amazing place to be. So yes. Man, I'm probably gonna stop there just because I want to have this conversation around you and Jazz, and not necessarily talk about your third round. If you want to go check out, you talk about the 3 Letterman battle or your battle with 3 Letterman with Jazz, and you were talking about the angle in the third about she does nothing for female battle rap, and that sparked a conversation online, a back and forth about whether the angle was legit, whether it was true, whether it really applied to her. But to me, I want to pause because I want to come back and have a conversation more in depth about not just Jazz, but just battle rap in general. Like what responsibility does an artist who makes it to the heights that you've ascended to, that Jazz has ascended to, that some of the early YouTube pioneers, what responsibility do they have to pay it forward for those that come behind them, if any at all? Because to me, that was the major takeaway from that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Is what, excuse me, what responsibility do they owe? I will end on this stuff. Let's talk about Diz Sharon real quick. There's obviously, we know what happened in the battle. This was a grudge match. In a grudge match, should there ever be a reason to have rounds that exceed 3.5 minutes? In a grudge match, right? Not just Okay, we got MCA versus MCB.
Yeah, no, I think 3.5. I mean, so I think 3.5 minutes is a comfortable point, but I mean, there have been battles that you've seen that have been 4 and 5 minutes that you've enjoyed. You know, I think once you get up to the 7 minute and plus mark, very, very rarely have you ever seen any battles where you can tell somebody wrote 7 minutes of material or more. That was a really, really good back and forth. In the past, what it's normally been is somebody wrote a long third round or something to that extent, and we're like, this round's dragging. I'm pretty sure against Verb, I had 4-minute rounds. You know what I mean? I think that I had around 4-minute rounds. For T-Top, I had close to 4-minute rounds. So 4 minutes is a probably a common. If you actually looked at some of your favorite battles, your Easy and Chess or some of these other ones, they probably got 4-minute rounds. They probably got 4.5-minute rounds. But in the grudge match, like that. It's just a tough situation because Disaster is going to rap as long as he's going to rap. And it's really like when you're battling Disaster, there's only one thing that is a possibility that can happen these days. And that is that you just put on an incredible performance for your fans with what you're able to do, to where they go from that battle and they're like, yo, War was wilding. I hate that I had to sit through that. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat of a lose-lose. I think what Sharon did incorrectly, but I understand why he did it, was I think he decided, well, Disaster's going to write 10-minute plus rounds. So I'm going to try to match him as much as I can, and I'm going to write 7-minute rounds. And I think Sharon became part of the problem in the grudge match. As good as his material was and as necessary as was to everything he said, I thought he was saying great things. He became part of the problem. Whereas we could be going away from it like, yo, Sharon did 4-minute rounds. He was incredible. He had the crowd going crazy every round. Then we had to listen to Disaster. That could have been the narrative, But I think the narrative is that battle was so long and so drawn out, And so that's tough because it is a grudge match. But I think, at the end of the day, like, stop booking Disaster. If he's not going to write, with under 5-minute rounds, and I'll even give him the 5. If he's not going to stay under 5 minutes of material, stop booking it, because there's not very many people that want to listen to that. I've seen him share on his Instagram story. Some of his fans inboxing him. It takes a true talent to be able to rap for 20 minutes and da 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 da. You know what I mean? But that's just not the nature of the beast. It takes a true talent to preach a 4.5-hour sermon. Do I want to go sit through a 4.5-hour sermon? I can guarantee you I don't. It takes a true talent to, I understand what they're saying, but that's not necessarily, what's conducive to, it also takes a true talent to be able to condense it all down and break your opponent down and speak on everything you need to speak on in, that the parameters of 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, only Jesus. If he preaching for 4.5 hours, okay, I'm with it. Anybody else, I got to go, my guy. Sorry. Love you. I can on YouTube.
Jesus gonna call me out for sleeping. I'm telling you that much. He gonna be like, yo, straight up. I'm gonna hold on as long as I can, but yo, I'm gonna look at him like, you knew this, you knew me, but you knew the posture of my heart before you started preaching this long. Know your audience.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, so you were talking about these inboxes from fans, and I have to wonder, did Diz log into a anyway?
We got fans, bro. We all got fans that will go to the links to get a response. Like this is the time, if you're a Disaster fan and you want him to share your comment, or you want him to like it or respond to you, if he's your idol in battle rap, and he's done plenty for the battle rap world. He deserves to be people's number one from the years of what he's put into. But this is the time, if you want a response, get that man some encouragement, because he's looking for it.
Listen, I want some. If you love them 20-minute rounds, I need somebody to love me like you love listening to somebody rap for 20 minutes in a row. Because let me tell you, Jack, my wife don't want to listen to me talk for 20 minutes straight with no uninterrupted. Come on, fam. Anyway,
Quest said it best. He said Jay-Z could walk in here right now and start rapping a cappella for 20 minutes, and I'm good after about 5 or 6 of them minutes.
Man, man, for real. But anyway, let me just shout out some people, man. All the artists on the card, even Disaster and Sharon. I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, it was a really good time. I don't have any complaints. Only thing I'll say is, battle leagues, I know this is really hard to find events that have seating, but if you can find a place that has seats, because especially after Disaster Sharon, like I actually, shout out to Khalid. He was part of the security team. Me and him have been chopping it up on the side of the stage throughout the night. He let me have a seat on the steps while they were rapping because I'm like, bro, I can't. I don't know how he did it because I don't think he sat down the entire night. Yeah. I couldn't do it. He gave me a water. I went and got one in return and replaced the one he gave to me. Like, bro, like
They had that one little couch upstairs. That one little couch upstairs.
That one couch upstairs. I think I went and found that seat for Rock and Shotty because I just couldn't stand up no more. Thankfully, the venue was the sound was able to carry for me to hear their rounds. Shout out to Shotty with his third round. His third round was crazy with the wrestling bars. Ill Will's third round was fire. Man, Bizzo Bond had a nice first. Dunch second and third. His impression of Bizzo in the second, super fire. I like Jazz's angle in the third. I'm trying to think, trying to shout out different people that are Real Deal and Cortez, super dope. T-Top Frack in the on beat. I brought up Roheezy. Roheezy did his number. Shout out to the dance hall guys. One day I'll learn patois and be able to keep up with what y'all are saying. Yeah. I felt the way about Shotty being able, Shotty up there. Book, 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 book. He's rocking with everything, and I have no idea what is being said.
I know. I wanted to say some of the stuff they were saying, but I'm like, I don't know if these are bad words and whatever this is. So I can't even
Bomba clot.
Yeah.
Yo, it was so. Let me just say this last thing. We get out of here. It was so crazy when they announced the dance hall. Now, obviously, Toronto has a huge Caribbean Jamaican population in the city. I swear I didn't hear anybody. They said dance hall. All of a sudden, the accents came out of nowhere. Shout out to the two dudes who's behind me who wasn't feeling the guy in the whole army fatigue outsuit. All they kept saying, but you don't got it, my youth. You don't got it, my youth. No, my youth. Like they were not feeling homie.
That's too funny.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the whole city. Shout out to Organic, Gully, everybody on the staff and the team. I appreciate the good time. I appreciate the good raps. And that's it, man. We're gonna get out of here because it's our time. We're gonna try to get together again next week to talk more about battle rap, especially the state of battle rap. Maybe
Cannon will be with us. Cannon will be with us next week. So if you got anything you want to, we can come up with some different topics to chop it up. Yeah. If you got any, him. He's a comic book action figure. He hip hop head, So if we can throw some categories out there, that'll be dope.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Please remember, you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice. Wherever you get the good podcast, give us 5 stars there. You can also find us on YouTube by searching Brains and Bars. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's them boys again. Talk to us, we talk back. And until next time, it's been a Black
and White
Thing, man. Also, you can check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, searching Brains and Bars, and we'll holler at y'all next week. Y'all be easy.
Peace. Deuces.